Yeah, what's good, guys? Thanks for coming back. Um, Today, I want to talk about killing your father. Um, Killing your father is an old idea. I don't know who came up with it. Maybe Jung. Probably not. I'm sure some Greek philosopher came up with the term or the phrase, the idea. Um, Either way, it's terribly important, right? I think, especially for us men, uh, to first of all to honor the father, whether he's in your life or he's not, whether he's a good one or a bad one, and that can also be relative, because your father can be in your life every single day, but be in essence useless or emotionally unavailable, uh, maybe even combative with you. Or your father can barely be in your life, but every time you see him, he makes a massive impact. Whatever the point is, eventually you have to abandon his value system and replace it with your own. I think taking the good things from his value system, the things that are universal, because there are universal laws, contrary to what uh, popular culture wants to tell you. There are things that always work. They have always worked, and they will always work. But then there are other value systems that not only work against you, or that don't work altogether, but actively hurt you. And I think a lot of this comes down to validation. When I was a little boy, I wanted desperately for my father's approval. I wanted my father to be proud of me. I wanted my father to say, "Wow, I'm proud of you, son. Good job, son. I love you, son." And when those things didn't necessarily happen, I would try harder, uh, uh, to the point where I really lost. I had never really developed a sense of myself and my own value system, or I did to a certain extent, but it was always in reaction to him, to the things that he wanted. There was this sort of absurd sense of rebellion well after it was appropriate for there to be a rebellion, right? Like, you're a teenager, whatever, you're a young man, you're coming up, you're doing your thing, and you want to push out into the world, and you want to put your mark on the world. You want to impose your will on the world, which is a very important thing to do as a man. Um, and you want to butt up and rebel against the father. But then eventually you got to sort of focus that energy into something constructive, into something positive. You can't just rebel all the time. What are you going to build if you're always rebelling? And then eventually what ends up happening, I think, is you end up rebelling against yourself, right? And that's where it can get dangerous. That's where it does get dangerous, and it becomes destructive. Um, and in that searching for that approval from the father figure, from the father, from his value system, um, that's when you end up losing yourself, and you lose touch with who you really are, what you really are. You do have a nature. Don't let them tell you otherwise. You do have things. You do have proclivity towards certain things. Whether you're really good at math, whether you're really good with your hands, whether you're a great fighter, whether you're a great artist. Whatever. There are things that you're born with, tools, abilities, natural proclivities that you're drawn to without you even trying to be drawn to them. And if you don't nurture those things, if you don't harness those things, and you try to live by someone else's value system, by someone else's, uh, I guess, worldview, uh, it'll fuck you, man. Hardcore. What I'm saying with this is, you have to develop your own sense of self, and that takes a lot of experimentation, right? Like, you don't necessarily know who and what you are until you're put in the situation where you have to push those boundaries, right? Like, you have no clue what you really like. unless you try a bunch of shit. You have no clue what you actually have a talent for unless you try a bunch of shit. You don't know where the gold lies unless you go into the dark and you pursue it. And if you're sort of stuck in one way of being, if you're stuck in just trying the same old thing every single day, you're never going to find out what and who you truly are. For example, I'm going to go live in Latin America for a year starting in May. Right now, this is April 21st. Not April, February 21st. I have no idea how I'm going to do it. I'm going to work remotely somehow. And this is the thing that I've always wanted to do. When I was 18 years old, I graduated high school in 2003. And that's when we went to Iraq and Afghanistan. That's when the wars really kicked off. Spent hundreds of thousands of troops over there, obviously. And I really wanted to go to war. And, my mother found out about it. And, the recruiter came to my house, the whole thing. Like, I was going to go take the test or whatever. My mom found out about it. She freaked out. And then I sort of just said, oh, well, maybe I'll go to college, instead, or I'll apply to this one school. If I get in, I'll go. And it was a school that was like 25 minutes from my house, right? It was really close to home, nice and safe. And I got in. The school was called Florida Atlantic University. And, I ended up going to university and not enlisting in the Marines, which I think was probably the biggest mistake in my life. And people are like, no, well, you could have been hurt. You could have been this. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe. Most likely I would have had some sort of psychological stuff if I had seen combat, but that's not the point. The point is I needed to discover who and what I was and what I believed in. I needed to push myself. I needed to push my limits and put myself out there. And if that meant that I came back maimed or injured or dead, then so be it. But it would have been my choice. And what I'm saying to you is, obviously that was a situation with my mother, but I was still living under this overprotected sort of thing, that the world is dangerous. And, part of it too was I didn't believe that I could do it. And so I didn't impose my own value system onto the house I was in, and I really go and do it for myself. I allowed other people to determine my destiny. And that's always a mistake. That's always a mistake. There is no, oh, well, your parents are looking out for you, da-da-da. Okay, but your parents can't protect you forever, man. They're going to die if they're not already dead. And what are you going to do? What do you have to show for your life? Because your decisions, good or bad, success or failure, like, they shape who you are. And if you don't follow those impulses, if you allow other people to control your life story, your own journey, so to speak, it's kind of such a stupid word now because it's overused, but then you lose sight of who you are. And that's the worst. That's the worst. So what I'm saying with this is the value system of your father, and it's a metaphorical thing, right? Like, don't literally kill your father. People are so stupid today. Like, they think everything is so literal. We're human beings are metaphorical creatures. We navigate the world through myth. If you don't kill that old value system, it'll kill you. So you could either be crushed by some other external force or impose your will on the world, kill your father, and develop your own value system and go out there and build your life. Because those are your choices. So, all right. This has been another video of Heroes and Men. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you like this video, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and there's more to come. Peace.